You want to run the meeting on mobile, or would you like me to take the reins this evening?
It's probably a good idea if you take the reins because I've got one hand on my phone and one hand on the steering wheel.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll do that. So let's call the meeting to order. It's 5:01. Call a special meeting of the Board of Finance to order. Let the record show that all 7 members are present. 4 here in the room, and Aaron and Steve on hybrid on Zoom.
6 members, I think.
What did I say?
7.
Thank you, Steve. All 6 members, 4 plus 2. Thank you. I'm moving on to item 2. Are there any citizen comments? We'll start in the room first. Any citizen comments in the room? Yes, could you? Please address for the record.
Just wondering, for the expense we're doing, what's actually involved with the HVAC? Are we going to geothermal or something? Because it seems like an awful lot of money just to keep the regular boilers that we have now.
Okay,
I'd also like more information on school security as well, because it just says security. They just mentioned doors in that, but it doesn't seem like changing every door in a school would be $500,000. That's all. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Any other citizen comments? In the room? Any citizen comments on the Zoom? Citizen comments on the Zoom, any?
Sorry.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Item 3, discuss and possible action. We have 3A, B, and C. We'll start with 3A, which is the school HVAC project of $13,200.
Feel fine. Yeah.
Someone's gonna go on mute. I'm gonna assume that that's an error in the agenda. I'm showing $13,200,000.
That's what I have.
That's correct. That's correct. And I'm sure, well, I don't want to speak for Bill Birch, but one of the reasons Bill is on the call is so that he can shed some light on this.
I'm very sorry for assuming that was an. So let's back up. Sorry about that. Okay, on zeros and commas. School HVAC project for $13,200,000. Potential office, school construction grants and review grants with a 68.2% reimbursement. And the application is completed. Is it over to you, Bill, for a more description and background?
If I could, I think it would
Please
probably
do.
make sense to walk through the schedule that Amy has up on the screen for the virtual audience and handed out in the room. So there's a lot going on this chart, and so bear with me as I walk through each of the scenarios, because the financing options change depending on which resolution would be approved. So what I've tried to show here is the bill rate impact at the top of the schedule for 24 and 25 for each of the projects as we go across, and that's the shaded rows in both the top chart and the bottom chart. So starting from the left on the scenarios, the combined HVAC school security and track project, all of the projects combined would be a $15.2 million bond at approximately 4%. Obviously, rates are always fluid, but at the moment we're at 4%. And the financing strategy would be bond anticipation notes initially refinanced into a bond once the reimbursement from the state, which equates to $9 million, is received. Now, keep in mind, the way this project is written in the resolution, the way the HVAC project is written in the resolution, it does not proceed unless the town wins the grant money. So that's why this scenario works. So in 25 and 26, you see interest only on the bond anticipation notes. The reason doesn't appear in 24, because I'm anticipating that's your first question, because it was mine. Is because in talking to our financial advisor, if we can push the buying of the equipment off until July 1st of 2023, we can then take the bond anticipation notes out, and we won't be making the first interest payment until the first day of fiscal 25. I checked with Bill Birch on that. That lines up with his timing. So it seemed like a prudent way to go in terms of pushing the payments around as best we could. So the first 2 years, our interest on,
When you say that payment is due the January 1st of 25, we're really talking about the 24-25 budget.
so it's actually July 1st of 2024 when that payment would be due, which is the first day of fiscal 25. These are fiscal years,
Okay,
not calendar years.
all right, thank you.
So the first 2 years are interest only on the bond anticipation notes. Going into year 3 is when you see the refinancing to the net $6.2 million, which appears at the bottom of the principal column. And that's the net, that's the 15.2 million minus the 9 million reimbursement. So that's the current financing scenario being envisioned with assuming the voters were to approve all of the projects. Moving one click to the right.
Sorry, Bill. Sure, we could, maybe people are at different points of, people may be at different points of understanding the scope of the project. You drilled into the numbers, which is great. Before we go down left or right, could we back up and maybe frame the scope of HVAC project?
Sure.
And
So the HVAC project, and if I get Bill Birch, if I get too far into the weeds, please jump in. But an assessment was done by the building committee of the HVAC systems on the entire campus of the school, K through 12. And that came back. It really involves replacing essentially almost all of the systems, or updating all of the systems, and also moving to a building management system. Right now, all of the systems are separate and require quite a bit of manual intervention to operate. And make sure they're working appropriately. So that's also a big part of the project. When it comes to the school security, to Mr. Warren.
Can we just stay with HVAC, please?
Certainly.
Because you didn't tell me anything yet
Anything?
regarding what's going on. HVAC, what do you mean? Are you replacing all the boilers in that building?
Bill, I'd like to hand it to
Well,
you.
right, if you don't mind, Bill, I'll jump in.
Thank you.
No, we're not replacing all the boilers in the building. We just replaced 2 boilers, as you're well aware. The issues with the HVAC is that the standards, I guess, have changed dramatically over the years since certain systems were installed. So I guess we could start by saying that all of the equipment that is in the school facility now is state of the art for the day it was installed. So what we're looking at, and this does not replace every piece of equipment in the school. It doesn't even address every area of the school. The newest areas of the school, the equipment that we installed, back in 2006, 2007, that is not even addressed at all in this, if you will say, phase of the upgrades. What we're looking at in this particular project is to replace all of the equipment that was installed when the addition was built to Mary R. Fisher in 1978. Those are unit ventilators that they're at ground level. They pull air right in off the ground, right next to the driveway. They do not really modulate temperature. They don't modulate water flow. It's what's called face and bypass dampers. Again, state of the art when they were put in, but not so much now. It replaces all of the equipment that was installed in 1986 when the high school was built. Again, state of the art when it was put in, but certainly not now. And it addresses some of the equipment that was installed in 1960. The kitchen and the cafeteria in the middle school has equipment that's been condemned and out of service since before I arrived 20 years ago. It also addresses the equipment that's in the elementary school cafeteria, which was built in 1980 and designed as a gymnasium. So it's the oldest of the equipment that it addresses. The issue of boilers comes down to, we have one boiler in the middle school that developed a leak. It's a cast iron sectional boiler. It developed a leak right when we started it up this year. We went back to HB Smith to try to get a replacement section. They said the foundry is shut down currently because they are retooling for a new generation of boilers, and the new sections are most likely not going to be compatible with the new sections. And as I understand it, that comes down to the new EPA regulations that those older boilers are just not ever going to meet EPA standards anymore. So they're obviously not going to build them. And when you come to the issue of building management, as you're all well aware, the building was built in phases from 1909 through 2007, I'm sorry. And every time they did, they put in a different type of control, different kinds of controls. Only the newest equipment is a building management system, a computer-based system whereby you can have much more finite control. The old pneumatic equipment, especially the stuff that goes back to 1978 and 1986, it's well worn. And one of the bigger problems is that there are very few people left that can even operate it, let alone service it. So I think it's key moving forward in the future that there are systems in place that can control things that people are going to be able to understand, people are going to be able to operate. The newest standards that have come out, it's known as ASHRAE 62.1, if anybody wants to look it up. And those are the new standards for outdoor air per person in any given space. And they're much more rigid than they were, say, in the 60s or 70s or even the 90s. So in order to do that, there has to be a final level of control where things can be controlled to a much finer level. So in the end, all of this, everything we're talking about doing, no one's going to see. You're not going to see a single thing. And it doesn't mean that the school is going to be air conditioned. Only the few areas I mentioned, the cafeterias, are actually the only areas that we're looking at air conditioning at this time. The equipment that's going to be installed in both the high school and the elementary school is going to be designed so that you can add air conditioning or refrigeration at some later date, should you decide.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Yes, Dave.
Bill, are you excluding A, B, and E wings in this? Or are they included?
Okay, Dave, you have to refresh me which A, B, and E wings are, because everything has changed. Are you talking about the middle school?
A wing is the front wing of the middle school. B wing is the first wing going down with 5th and 6th grade in it. And E wing is the old elementary wing. Yeah.
Those areas are excluded. And the reason we excluded those areas in this particular phase of the upgrade is because that was all replaced in 2007. Those are the best systems we have on the campus right now.
Okay. That's what I thought. I just wanted to clarify that, Bill. Thank you.
Okay, is there, thank you, Bill, that was helpful. Are there any other documents? Is there a presentation of sorts or what? I appreciated Bill's feedback and I'm not speaking for the board, I'm speaking as a member of the board. This is a very large number and I think we need to be able to present to the people what, when I hear the air conditioning gonna be for the cafeteria only. That's a lot of HVAC on the VAC side that we're not getting the whole school done. So I just don't have an appreciation for, it's a big number, but it could be a small number in terms of what we're actually getting. I just don't have a good feel for what we're getting and how much is left. So if we do this, we've basically upgraded 10% of the building infrastructure or 90% of the building infrastructure. So kind of seeing that whole picture, I think would be helpful, and we may be under a time schedule with.
We were, just to give you the backstory in case nobody here knows, back a couple of weeks at our last board, not the last Board of Selectmen meeting last night, but the prior one. The school was under the gun, so to speak, to get a grant in by December 1st. It was something they had been watching for, but it came up and you had to act fast. You had to get the grant in within a couple of weeks. So, which meant that in order for them to apply for the grant, the Board of Selectmen had to adopt a resolution stating that we would have a town meeting and referendum, the referendum in particular before January 31st. We had to agree to that. As a couple of weeks went by, it clicked in my mind, oh my goodness. January 31st is going to be here before we know it. But more than that, what I did know was that because we were going for referendum, we had to post and publish the legal notice 30 clear days before the referendum. So at this point, if we're going to act on this, if we're going to meet the January 31st or the January 31st referendum deadline, we have to send the legal notice to the paper tomorrow.
That's
at
why
noon.
we're at a special meeting today.
Correct. So just to give you that background.
So what-
Additionally, the building committee is putting together a whole presentation, not only for the town meeting, but leading up to it, so that we'll have the information out there of what's involved with this project.
Okay.
It's just, it's just being put together right now and hinging on whatever happens tonight.
So what's the ask of this board? What's the ask tonight?
Ultimately to approve the appropriation to go to town meeting and referendum. So ultimately it goes to the hands of the people to decide. It has to go to referendum. There's no way around that.
Do we have a particular amendment that we need to, or wording that we need to approve or vote on, I should say?
No, I mean, honestly, the Board of Selectmen acted on adopting that resolution without it even clicking in any of our minds that we had to go to the Board of Finance to approve the appropriation. So from what I understand from the bond council, the Board of Finance just has to give the appropriations their blessing, not necessarily that you approve or disapprove of it, but the blessing to bring it to the people.
So an amendment simply saying that we forward this to the town meeting for consideration.
Correct. That sounds appropriate.
Thank you.
Feels rushed. I'm just being honest. It feels rushed.
I actually agree.
I love the school and I'm not a native, not wanting to support the school. And they sound critical and I don't mean to be critical. It just feels like if there's not enough substance to sell it. And if we go to the town people, I know you said there's more material coming out, but town people are gonna be asking a lot of questions, to understand. This is, I don't have all the yearly numbers, but since I've been engaged in the last 3 cycles, I think this is more of a bigger mill increase than we put through on the whole $30 million town budget. Not a reason not to do it, just a fact. It's a giant number. Yes,
Well,
Rob, man.
I just want Rob, man, you're not the only one that feels that way. We had the Board of Finance meeting last time. We had the Board of Finance, the December meeting. They did bring up that they were gonna have an HVAC project coming. but we didn't talk any figures whatsoever. And then the only reason why I knew these figures were, even the Board of Selectmen meeting, I didn't know about the figures until the agenda came out for this meeting. And I saw the number and I said the same thing. I said, that must be a typo, just like kind of Bob felt. And I was like, wow, because that's the biggest appropriation I've seen since I've been here, and I've been on the board now 5 years. So and all that was discussed was that at the Board of Finance meeting is just the HVAC. And then the other two appeared in the agenda. And I was like, that's another $2 million. I was very concerned.
Can I make it
still am.
clear that when the Board of Selectmen entered into the resolution, we didn't actually have numbers either? I didn't have numbers until they completed, and it was a week after they completed their application, and I was starting to construct the legal notice, the potential legal notice, that I was given those numbers, so just to be clear. It was because they only had a couple weeks to get the grant in. Additionally, just another.
Amy, and let me be clear that the people, HF Lens, who is doing the assessment, were also under the gun to give us those reports so that we could submit the grant by December 1st at 8 p.m. So they also were rushed, but the timeline to submit the application was rushed from the state.
And additionally, like Melinda said, and Melinda, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's an extremely competitive grant.
So it's $150 million that the state has set aside. There have been 130 districts submit an application. So it is extremely competitive, but any district that doesn't meet the criteria that was set forth will be eliminated from consideration. And the only thing that we have not been able to comply with now is making sure that there is going to be a resolution by January 31st. I'd hate for us to miss out on a grant opportunity. Obviously, that's what we do all the time, looking for money. And so we had no control over this timeline at all.
Thank you, Melinda. Yes, Dave.
Question for you, Bill?
Bill Birch.
Bill Birch, yes, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Lots of bills.
With regard to your explanation and the fact that the middle school boilers need to be replaced, what else on your list is essential? I'm not asking what meets code and what doesn't meet code. I'm asking what is essential at this point.
Sorry, Dave, I had a problem unmuting myself.
Okay, I'll repeat myself. Did you hear me, Bill?
No, I heard you. I just couldn't answer.
Okay.
So I would say what else is critical? I think we've done a pretty good job of keeping everything running to the best of our ability. So, critical is kind of it's kind of a term that depends on who you think. In the years coming forward, these things are going to become critical. The equipment, the older equipment it's tired. It's done its job. It's tired. And in the past few years of the pandemic, we've worked it hard. 20 years ago, half of the ventilation in those A, B, and E wings that you talked about were completely blocked with insulation. There was no fresh air in that building.
I understand that.
And at this point, we are drawing in 30% fresh air to keep the building well ventilated, to try to keep people healthy. I think we've done a good job with that over the past few years, as evidenced by how many days we were closed. But it takes its toll. And so, yes, those boilers are critical. The other thing is the new standards that are out, requiring, I think the latest standard from ASHRAE 62 is a minimum of 10 CFMs per person, per classroom or area, whichever way you want to look at it. So if you don't have good controls, if you don't have things that can monitor that and understand how many people are in a space. So right now you're in a room that has, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say maybe a dozen people in it at the most. The capacity of that room is probably 40 people. So if you don't have controls that can tell how many people are actually there, occupancy sensors, CO2 sensors, things of that nature, then you have to design that system for 42 people. If you take a standard classroom that is maybe designed to hold 30 kids and a teacher, that's 31 people. And you have to design those systems to operate at 10 CFMs for 31 people. If there's nobody in the room, or if there's only 4 people in the room, it's still going to be running like there's 31 people in there unless you have good, solid, smart controls. So I would say beyond those boilers, probably the most important thing is a good, solid control system. And of course, the equipment that's condemned that hasn't worked in 20 years.
Thank you, Bill.
Melinda's speaking, but she's,
Oh, we can't hear her.
no.
Melinda, you're on mute.
No, she's not though. She lost her microphone, I think. Let me see.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can, Melinda.
So when we had money in our op grant, and our op committee felt that we needed to assess the HVAC systems on the entire campus. So they set aside $92,000 to do that work out of our op funding. And that's the assessment that HF Lens has done. They actually phased out the work that has to be done on campus, and in phase 1, they actually put the more critical pieces that needed to be worked on. They worked with Bill Birch and the building committee, and they identified those critical areas that fell into phase 1, knowing that the entire project is definitely out of reach. So I just wanted everybody to know that the engineers who did the assessment on the building phased it in, and they put the more critical pieces up front.
Thank you, Melinda. Aaron or Steve, do you have any comments? I don't want you to not have an opportunity being remote.
No, thank you. I think I'm sorry. Again, I think what we're trying to do here is to forward this for the town to consider. I do think the building committee has a big job explaining why we need what's being asked for here. So I hopefully they can put together a good program to explain it.
And the thought that I have is I don't want to overly complicate this, but it sounds like some items are crucial and some items are old but could become crucial at a future date. And so I don't know if town meeting warrants can be structured this way, but can we have like an A, B, and C plan? Is it possible to have the people who attend town meeting to vote to approve either the A, which is the crucial, the B, which is the crucial plus it's probably going to be crucial in a few years, or the C, which is everything, including the things that are old that are not crucial. I don't want to overly complicate this, but it feels like there's a mix. It feels like there's a mix.
So unfortunately, the grant application that we submitted was for phase 1 entirely.
And that's the full 15 million.
Sounds like it's a good idea, Aaron, but it sounds like that's not an option given the way that the grant was submitted.
The way, and just to clarify, the way it was written is what has to go to referendum. No less.
Right, no modifications. And was this put before the Board of Ed and Board of Select at their meetings and this is passed?
Last night, we discussed all the projects and passed it on to the Board of Finance. Believing ultimately that it would be the taxpayers that would be the deciding.
And so just to make sure, the question before the Board of Finance tonight is 15 million or nothing. It's not like the Board of Finance could say, well, let's talk about the most crucial things and let's approve 5 of it or 10 of it. It's 15 or nothing because
Oh,
other things.
13
Wait, whoa,
13.3.
because, got it. Sorry.
It's split up.
Right, 15 was everything, right? I'm sorry, I don't have the agenda in front of me.
Yeah.
Right, so because it was written as 13.2, it's not possible for the Board of Finance to say, how about we do 5 or 10? It's either 13.2 or nothing.
That's correct.
No.
As I understand it, Aaron, that's exactly right, because of the way it was submitted, and that has to be represented that way in the referendum.
You do have the opportunity to not approve the other 2 appropriations.
But the other 2 are not part of this.
It's not part of the grant
Okay.
in any way.
Specifically, of the 150 million funding in the state, we asked for 13.5. So that's more specific to the
13.2.
13 point.
It was actually a little bit,
Sorry.
13,165.
Yeah,
Blah,
no,
blah,
no,
blah. So
13.2 is good.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other two asks around the security and the track are also. going to
Projects, well,
Those 2 are going to referendum.
they would go to
But
referendum.
there's no reimbursement because the full amount is here on our chart
Potential reimbursement
as of today.
for the security. Through the Department of Homeland Security. DEMS, the state agency, we think something's coming up pretty soon. The good thing about that grant is we could do the whole project and submit for the reimbursement grant afterwards.
Okay.
Now, will something come up in the future for the track? We're watching because we have a shovel-ready project for the first time ever. And that will eventually would have to go to referendum too. We know we have a track that's been unusable for 20 years
Mhm.
and it's an embarrassment. So if we were going to go to bonding for the larger amount, it made sense to potentially put the other 2 projects in at this time.
Understood.
Because they are projects the building committee has been working on.
Question,
Yes, Dave.
the school track project, does that just include the track itself?
No mean to Bill, it does include some other,
So I get, yeah, Dave, it's basically the replacement of the track. I believe we expanded, there was an added lane. There's an area for some bleachers, for some stands. There was something carried for electrical in the event that we wanted to add lighting later. There would be electrical, conduit under the track, and there was some drainage work that needed to be done. But it's basically, it's the track complex. I think I take that back. There are new high jump pits and I believe a new pole vault pit.
All right, but it doesn't include any of the soccer field then?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
I think I'm struggling most, as we're open and transparent, is the lack of context around it. It's hard to understand what we're asked to get around and support. And I get that it's going to the town people, but to me, if it's going through this board and we're contemplating it, we're saying we want to hear, we think it's worthy to go forward to the town. And without the context, it's hard to really understand. And I see the words here, and Bill did a good job describing it, but there's a lot here, and not really understanding fully what we're doing with the track, what's entailed in the security, the magnitude of that. And Melinda mentioned the study on the HVAC and assessment. That, not having seen, I don't need to read, it's a 50-page study, but just kind of the highlights, extract the context of the highlights. And then with it being phase 1, again, is that phase 1 of 5 phases? We're thinking that this is a 13 million times 5, maybe a little bit over the top, but, or is this like, this gets us it's phase one, but phase 2 and 3 are much smaller. Like I can't, I can't frame it all and really and get a feel for the ask. Because I don't know what the deliverable is, like, other than the words on the one page. That's what I'm struggling with the most. Dave.
I think I'm struggling with the same problem. I don't disagree that these are needed.
Need attention.
The track has been needed prior to our last building project. We didn't have the funds to deal with it. And I'm also looking ahead till February, March of this year. Knowing where we are, the budget reports we've been getting, the situation with the school in terms of finances and special ed. Granted, it's not going to hit us next year, but it will hit us in the following budget.
Right.
And I have some major concerns about the expenses.
Yes. Rob.
Seti, I agree with you with the expenses. I feel like this is, I don't want to use the word pitfall, but I feel it would certainly put a tumble in the budget. We struggle as it is with these budgets. And, you know, we'd always look and try to get wants versus needs. Sometimes we even chip away at the needs and I don't not say that. I don't have a problem saying it. I think it's wonderful this town and the school and everybody gets grants. I'm not against grants, but at the same time, it comes with a cost. And, you know, $13.2 million grant, as we all know how it works. You know, the town pays the full amount and gets reimbursed later on. But I don't know if that money always makes it back. You know, us as a board, I don't know if we always end up putting all that money back into actually paying off that bond. I don't think that happens a lot. And that's a big concern for me because the money doesn't always make it back to pay off that bond. And sometimes it's prepayments and you can't do that. And you still have to make those payments for a number of years. You know, and sometimes it takes 2 to 3 years to get these grants back too. We've been experiencing that. I mean, just at the Board of Selectmen meeting the other night, John Rice mentioned that they still haven't gotten the grant back for the oil tanks. And that was, I don't know if that was 2020 or 2021. And I don't know if you got the grants back from I'm going into different subjects. I don't want to get off kilter too much, but even the gates, I don't know if all the money's been received for the gates and that was 2019. So it's a concern. We have payments, but we're making the payments on the full amount, the full 13.2 million we're making the payments on, not just, you know, the assumption that, okay, this project costs 13.2 million and we're going to get 70% back. We're making the payment on the full amount, and that's a concern for me going into budget season and special education that's over budget and a lot of other things. So I'm really trying to weigh wants versus needs. We're having a discussion with Bill about, you know, we have boilers that are 1980. We know they need to be replaced. But do we need a project of this size is the question.
I think that's going to be answered in the future. Unfortunately, we don't have those answers. When I look at this, I look at these grants or projects as being essential. But if in fact we do give our blessing to it tonight, I can guarantee I'm looking at a 0 mil increase come March and April. There's no way that we can afford this plus increasing our budgets. Because this increases them for 20 years. And it's 0.8 mils a year. So I would say I would vote probably at this point to move it forward. I don't think with the job that the building committee has done, the people in this community are going to accept it. I realize the importance of it. But come budget time, don't ask me for a dime.
Anyone else on the Board of Finance, questions, comments, Board of Finance members?
So I'm on my phone, so I can't see the spreadsheet that was put up. But that's true? That the debt service for these bonds would equate to 0.8 mil per year.
That's correct, Aaron. It would roll into 2025. So we wouldn't be faced with it. We would not be faced with that number this spring. It would be for the following year. So
Mhm.
there is a 1-year offset because of the magnitude of the job and getting it in and starting it. Any other questions or comments from the Board of Finance members?
I think just to repeat sort of what Dave was saying, I think it's, if we were actually going to approve this measure tonight, we would want to know a lot more, have a lot more options to consider. Forwarding it to the citizens to consider, I don't think that's unreasonable.
Yeah, I don't either, Steve, and I think my view though on Dave's comments is that if we're sitting here in April and 0.8 was kind of all we had to go forward with, we're kind of pre-saying that this is what we would spend it on, which is HVAC on the school. My viewpoint on that would be, let's fix the boilers that are broken for 0.08 and put the other 0.72 to work for the town. And that's one view. But if it's up to the townspeople, I guess job isn't to approve it or not today, it's to approve a process,
Mhm.
not approve the expenditure. We're approving the process to allow the town people to approve the
Expenditure, correct.
That's
That's the way I'm looking at it.
I'm trying to look at it in a way that I can wrap my head around it.
Yeah,
Be okay with it.
but if they do approve it come March and April, it's gonna be a tough year.
Right.
That's the way I'm looking at it.
Okay,
And there's no way around the regular things. I mean, they have contracts they fill, the oil's over budget. You have so many factors this year with
They
everything
better
going
start
on.
looking at cuts
Yeah.
right now,
haven't got the wages yet.
big time.
So are all three, I know you have three bundled and then each separate.
Correct.
And the referendum that you're looking to put forward, I'd like to know what specifically the Board of Ed approved and what the Board of Selectmen approved.
Well, the legal notice we approved has 3 resolutions for the town meeting. The first being for HVAC, second being for the security project, and in that legal notice, which I read during the Board of Selectmen meeting, hard to follow when you're reading something at a meeting, but it lists out the various parts of the project, and what's included in the dollar amount. And then the third resolution would be for the school track. Additionally, in the legal notice and during the town meeting, it's the hope that we go to referendum in which there will be 3 questions for each of the projects.
And the HVAC one, I'm sorry,
No,
I don't like.
And
this.
if there is
I-
nothing listed in the referendum question, because we couldn't, although the last time we did the school roof, it was listed. In that question, there is no mention of the reimbursement. The town has to agree to the 13.2, but in the legal notice and what we're going to approve potentially tomorrow, if we don't get the grant, we do not move forward with the HVAC project at all.
And also the resolution for the HVAC had flexibility in it
Right,
for changes.
yes,
Changes in the system or whatever needed to be done while they were doing it. That was,
right.
I don't know if I said that right.
Mhm. We did.
Okay, this may be an obvious answer, but I want to ask the question. If we if we were to move forward and this process was approved, and take it to referendum, and it was approved by the town, I suspect we as a body, we the Board of Finance are required to approve those expenditures. To Dave's point, I mean, that's pre-spent now at that point.
Well,
Is that correct, or
I am,
is there another?
if it's approved by the town, if we approve it tonight, it's approved by the Board of Finance.
Right, there's no, in other words, I'm getting at this, there's not another period for us to
No.
contemplate
No,
whether we want to adjust it or do something. different.
none.
That's right.
If we approve it tonight, the only thing now that I see missing in front of us is the legal notice, which is what I think we need to approve.
I'm sorry, you print that off for you. Can get a copy for everybody right now.
That's what we should be approving, because that's good, that is what's going to the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's no coming back. It's not,
Right.
if this happens,
So
this
that's what we
happens.
call a one-way door. It's, go through it, go through it. So, not to rush us, we talked about the HVAC on it, and we didn't spend a lot, we bounced around on the other two, but are there any other questions around the school security or the track? We talked a little bit about the track, just before we get into this, the legal notice, is there any more discussion to be had on the other topics?
I wonder if we might touch on the school security, what that spending is for. You mentioned the track and you've talked about the HVAC, but
Is Bill Birch the best to?
Yeah, I think so.
So Bill, could you
And-
help us address hang on a minute, yes,
Just one caveat,
Amy,
all the discussion and everything they've been working on has been done in executive session, so,
okay.
but
regarding.
I think Bill can share some aspects of it.
understood, good point. Bill, could you give us a little color around what's entailed?
So what I can tell you without going too far is that we've looked at some, let's say, details around the envelope of the building, as far as penetrability, how easily would it be to penetrate the building? And we have identified that, again, some of the things that have been done in the past, over the past, let's say, 100 years, as far as the actual building envelope, things are different now. Things have changed dramatically in the last 10 years, and they're no longer adequate. So at one point, I know this is for $500,000. And at one point, we've had a couple of people come up and look at some of these things. And I've got a firm quote on, I would say, what is maybe 20-30% of what needs to be done. And that firm quote is at $168,000. And currently, that is in my operating budget for next year because it needs to be done. So if this goes to the public and they don't approve it, and then it's in the budget and it's, again, not approved in the budget, then the answer is it doesn't get done. And that all I can say is that leaves us with a vulnerability without going into too much detail.
That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. I think Amy's gone to get the legal notice.
Yes.
While she's gone, Bill, without going out of bounds, can you share with us a little bit beyond, I think the word security, our minds go to doors and locks, and there's probably a whole bunch more than just doors and locks. Are you in a place where you can at least speak to what some of the other items fall under the bucket of security?
So there's a lot of things that fall under security. As you said, there's doors, there's locks, there's cameras,
Right.
there's access control. There is the security gates that you had mentioned earlier. And to answer a previous question, the reimbursement has been submitted for the security gates. I submitted that in, I want to say around October. I had a few questions, and the last communication I got from Homeland Security was that they were going to process that reimbursement as quickly as possible, and you should see it soon. Soon being a a term that, what does that mean? But at least I know they're working on it. There was, there was 10 years ago, there was quite a bit of discussion about the fact that we cut down all the trees on the hill, and we cut down the trees between the school and the athletic complex. That also all fell under those security grants. There was the interior doors that compartmentalized the campus so that the elementary school, middle school, high school, and administration building have become somehow separate entities so that should someone be inside that means to do harm, they're not going to be able to travel freely from one end of the campus to the other. We installed bollards in front of the main entrance doors or any place that it would have been advantageous for somebody to drive a car through those storefront windows. So in the last 10 years, we have done, I believe it's like $1,200,000 worth of security upgrades to the campus, of which we have gotten 70% back on every bit of it.
Window film was one of them too.
Thank you, Rob. The window film, the ballistic window film, and that was a big piece. And all of these pieces that we've put in place, they don't guarantee anything. All they do is they buy people, seconds or minutes.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Amy, was that emailed as well to Steve?
Oh, no, but I can. Sorry about that.
And
Aaron.
Aaron. Aaron's
Sorry about that.
Are you going to email it or just display it?
Oh, I could display it too, but I'll email it to you guys too. So you have a copy.
Because I don't think Aaron can get an email at the moment.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, please go.
Is it possible to move forward the HVAC and the security, but not the track?
Anything you want to do.
I just wonder, how is this warrant to town meeting written? Is it written for the whole 15 or is it written for?
No, it's
2.2 plus.
three discrete resolutions,
Got it.
to consider each one independently and vote on each one independently. I think Bill bundled them for us just for the sake of us being able, because he probably figured we'd ask what the total impact was.
Yes.
So the answer is yes.
Right. It's just a question.
It's the HVAC that worries me in terms of expenses.
Too fast, Amy.
Oh, sorry. You tell me when you want me to forward it.
All right, thank you.
I wasn't doing that. I wasn't, well, never mind.
I got it.
Yeah, can't you read fast, Steve?
Okay, you can scroll up if you don't mind.
What's that?
If you wouldn't mind scrolling up a little bit, thank you.
Yeah. What about there?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
You can scroll up a little bit more if you can. You can go up. Thank you. Good. You can scroll up.
Okay.
You can scroll up if there's more.
Yeah.
I think I got it. Thank you.
Okay, and do you want to see the questions, Steve? Because there's the.
Oh,
we've
sure.
got-
Questions at the bottom, that'd be great.
Gonna go to town referendum.
I got it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'll send that via email too.
Thank you.
We
Yes,
still
Rob.
asking questions. I have a question for Bill. Is there prepayment penalties on this? Or I see that the interest is paid up front. So is it after the interest is paid that you can pay it down, or how does that work?
On the bonds, I believe you are restricted to the term, on the full term of the note, no prepayment. On the bank loans, prepayments can be made, which we didn't get to that part of the discussion yet, but the method of financing would change if we were to just do the track or the school security project.
But the HVAC, it's a full term, so it's 10 million, it's really almost $10 million by the time we do this $13.2 million, $10 million over.
20 years. That's why I wanted the full picture there.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate
The
that.
effect of each of the years.
I said 10 million out loud. It's, close. It's under that, but
Yeah.
it's close.
And
Oh,
that's
I
why.
didn't quite catch Bill Stiglitz's response. Bill, did you say that these bonds are not callable? They can't be prepaid?
My understanding right now is that they cannot be prepaid. I can
They're not
follow up there to confirm that. Who's asking? That was Aaron.
Okay, any more discussion? Guess that would lead us to possible action.
So I guess. Sorry, so let's say the incidence of inflation starts to cool down and, the 10-year treasury starts to rise and the interest rate on treasury starts to come down. And the interest rate that by which we borrow ends up being on the higher side of where things are in, say, 3, 4, 5 years. We would not be in a position that the nature of these bonds are such that we wouldn't be able to seek alternate financing and then save money, just like anybody would with a mortgage, when you go refinance and pay off the old note.
I would want to confirm that, Aaron. I'm sorry, but I don't have the answer to that right now.
Because we just
Right.
redid this on the present school bond. We rebonded that at a lower rate. So I think it's possible. We've been known to do it in the past.
It is a common practice.
Hmm.
But I know there's a difference between callable bonds and non-callable bonds. Callable bonds can be refinanced. Non-callable bonds cannot be refinanced.
I know it, I'm sorry, I'm Bob.
Go ahead, Rob.
I know Aaron's driving, but it does show that like the interest gets paid down first on this also. I know you're driving, you probably can't look at the
Right. I can't
paper
see.
that we had here or Amy had on the screen before, but the interest gets paid first, so they make their money.
Yeah, it's also pointed out, Rob, that the interest is on the full amount, as you mentioned earlier. So
Yes.
608,000 is like on the 15 million. It's the
Yes.
50% of the 15 million, and then as the reimbursements come through, that changes.
But you also can't pay it if it's a full term, as Bill doesn't know, but possible. If it can't be paid down, then when the bond money, when the grant money comes in, it can't be paid down on it. It actually has to go into the general fund and sit there.
No, actually, let me clarify that.
Okay, that's right.
The first two years there, our interest, as I started to go on and on about the method of financing, initially we would be in what's called the bond anticipation. Thank you, Amy. Bond anticipation note, which will allow us to pay interest only until the reimbursement is received. The hope is within the first 2 years. Then we would pay that down and refinance the 6.2, if you look to the bottom of that first column.
Yeah.
Refinance that 6.2 million, which is the 15.2 less than 9 reimbursement. So that's to the 6.2.
It would actually be issued at the 6.2.
Right,
Mhm.
exactly. The bond would be issued at the 6.2. The bond anticipation notice would be issued at the 15.2.
I don't want to be a negative Nancy on this either, but with the way, you know, the bond, the reimbursements have been coming in, 2-3 years later, it's kind of the scary, even that timelines worries me.
Yeah, which is a 500 for 2 years.
And, I don't know this to be true, but it seems to me that the state doesn't put everything up front. They also amortize it over the 20-year period in terms of the amount of money coming to us.
Oh,
I believe you can check on that, Bill, but
Stephen, Aaron, did you guys follow all that or any follow-up questions on that?
Yeah, I think I follow it, but to Rob Mann's point, the interest is heavier in the first years because the principal is higher outstanding in those periods.
right,
it's the total principal
right.
until the bond is activated.
Right.
Understood.
Okay. Any further discussion? No further discussion, possible action?
Could Amy give us a recommended wording of a possible resolution that we would consider?
I think what you had said in the past, moving this forward to town meeting and referendum, whichever one or three of the projects or whatever you opt for.
Right. So we may want to do that one at a time. Because if we bundle them, we might not give people an opportunity to weigh in on
Yeah,
one and not the other.
I like that.
Yeah, it would be to move each of these resolutions independently to a special town meeting on January 18th, for a referendum on January 31st.
Sounds good.
Is there anyone wanting or willing to make that motion? On resolution number 1 to appropriate 13.2 million for costs related to the HVAC budget.
I'll move that. Just to wait.
Okay, Larry has that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Steve. I'm going to clarify. He's moving to move forward to a special town meeting on January 18th and to referendum on January 31st, 2023. The resolution number 1 to appropriate 13.2 million for the costs related to the HVAC project. That captured correctly?
Sounds good to me.
You may want to add as presented to include all of the,
Yeah, we could add that as presented
in our motion.
to include the full legal notice. Thank you. Is there any discussion? We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? No further discussion. Okay, we'll vote individually. We'll start with you, Larry.
I was gonna say, if it's okay, I guess I just want to share a thought before we vote. Generally, I believe that HVAC systems are important. There's no question about that. Our school building is important. There's no question about that. We have an obligation to take care of our school building. I'm really verbal to this question. I just feel like, and we've mentioned this before, it just feels like it's kind of rushed. It's kind of at the last minute. I wish we could have been talking about this at a regularly scheduled meeting in October or a regularly scheduled meeting in November or a regularly scheduled meeting in December. It just feels like we're doing this special meeting a week and a half before New Year's because we need to get this done because that thing's going to happen because this timeline, it just feels like, and we don't know if the bonds are callable or not. It just feels like there's loose ends that really frustrate me. I'm going to vote yes, but I just really feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. So I just had to say that. You can put that in the record. That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Any other discussion? I jumped to a vote. My apologies, Larry. Any other discussion? Steve, any comments or discussion on the motion?
I share Aaron's thoughts.
And just from my point of view, as first selectman, the discussion and the work that's been going on with this HVAC project has been months. Unfortunately, as a Board of Finance, you attend Board of Finance meetings. There's a lot of meetings that have been going on, and this project has been ongoing. The number, I will say, shocked me as well. I keep mentioning it to Bill Steglitz, that it just makes my head spin. But unfortunately, the Board of Selectmen, we did resolve to move it to town meeting and referendum. But that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Amy. I can appreciate.
I can totally understand how you feel.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, and I can't, not all of us can be at all those meetings.
Right,
And
no.
we do have emails and other ways to communicate, and I would just add that we're a long way from the town. I mean, you guys have a lot of work to do, and if this was in the business world, it would be justified, and there'd be a presentation, and there would be alternatives, and we would be vetting this thoroughly, squeezing it and rinsing it. So I understand things need to happen at the school, and we need heat. But this is a giant project, and that's my one warning. I think if someone's passionate about it, they've got to run it and sell it. And they've got to put the descriptor together and show and convince the townspeople why this is something we should spend money on, and not a lot of other things, because it is choices. At the end of the day, we can't do everything. To Rob Mann's point, we're cutting back things we need to do. We don't even get to the wants, so it's a choice.
Right. No, I value that opinion.
Any other discussion around the motion? Okay, thank you, everyone. Larry, once again, how do you vote?
Yes.
Rob Mann,
No.
Dave,
I'll vote yes.
Steve Herbert,
Yes,
Aaron McGarry,
Yes.
and Rob Warridge, I'll vote yes as well. This passes 5-1. Second would be same motion, slightly modified, which would be resolution number 2. Go to a special town meeting on January 18th, 2023, referendum on January 31st, 2023, to appropriate $500,000 for costs related to the exterior door replacement. Let's say $500,000 for the school security system, as outlined in the legal notice that we have. Is there anyone that wants to remove that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Steve makes that motion. Is there a second? Larry seconded. We have a motion and a second surrounding the school security resolution equating to $500,000 as outlined in the legal notice before us. Is there any discussion?
Just a comment that I would share is my feeling is you need an HVAC system to run a school. You need sufficient security in order to run the school and make sure that the students are safe. A track is a wonderful thing to have, but you don't need to fix a track in order to keep running a school. And because this particular item, there's no known grant sharing opportunity. I just feel like this is, of the three, personally, this is the one I just can't go along with. At least considering the price tag that goes along with item number 1, I can't go along with this one. I just wanted to share my thoughts before the vote.
And to be clear,
We're doing
sorry, Aaron,
security.
I want to clarify something. In our agenda, it's going 3, A, B, and C. The resolutions are 1, 2, and 3, and they're in different orders. So we're now
sorry.
moving on to 3, we're voting on 3C, which is resolution 2. And that has a potential Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, 68% reimbursement.
So
That
we're
one
voting
does.
on school security?
Yes,
We're voting on school security
Okay.
as resolution
Thank
2.
you.
Following the legal notice, maybe I should be clearly following the agenda, but they don't
that's
coincide.
That's okay.
But there's a potential. It's not been, it's expected to be released in early 2023, which I assume we would apply for at that time when it's released.
Thank you. I was following the agenda thinking that we were voting on the track. So then my comments, I'll change my comments to the purpose of this motion. I feel like school security is one of those things that no one loves to pay for school security until the day something happens. If we don't do everything we can do to protect our children, and we may not be biologically related to them, but they are our children. If we don't do everything we can to protect them, then when the day comes that something happens, if we knew that we had a chance and we didn't take it, I wouldn't be able to look myself in the mirror. So I feel like I'm when it comes to protecting the life of children, $500,000 is cheap, especially when there's grant funding available out there. That's my personal feeling.
Thank you, Aaron. Rob Mann.
Yeah, no, I was just, it said potential in 2023. Now, if am I right or am I wrong? This project goes forward even if there is no grant 2023. So just, I wanted everybody.
Passes referendum.
But
Yeah,
this,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but this grant also can be applied for after the project is completed.
Yes, no, I understand. I wanted to just,
Yeah,
So
right.
basically, the financials could get better.
yes, that's what I'm
Could get
saying.
better. Yep, you got that. Bill Steglitz had a comment. I believe.
Sorry to speak out of turn,
No.
but I did get an answer on the refinancing question. After 7 years, we would have the option to refinance if the bonds, the 6.2 that we were discussing, if rates obviously permitted.
Yeah, so they got like,
So
I'm sorry, it's like $4 or $5 million in interest they get before, which isn't, out of 10 million, that's could be reduced
That's
from there down.
Any other comments on the motion before us regarding the school security? Discussion. Before we vote, the one thing I would add is that risk never gets to zero, and I rarely say never. There's never a zero risk situation in life. And 500,000 is a lot of money. I'd be very interested in looking at kind of the cost to risk curve, understand. In other words, if we spend 200,000, do we substantially reduce our risk really close to zero? And the incremental 400,000 is really nice to get it down even lower, but at some point you're on the margin, right? You're spending a lot of money to get to 0.00000001, and 0.0001 is pretty low risk.
Mhm.
So I would just, I don't know if I'm describing it well with the analogy, but I think this would be a place to look and press on what we're doing and spend the money we need to get the big important things taken care of. I know it's not what we're voting on right now, but I'm expressing that as, I think that would be an opportunity to help keep our children safe and keep that kind of cost risk relationship in check.
Yeah, Rob, man, I agree with you. I just want to make sure that, as Bill goes through and they do these things that, obviously they know best rather than me. I mean, of course,
That's right.
but, the things they feel are higher on the risk, gets done first, because we all know that, I'm just gonna come out and say it. We know this isn't gonna be the end of security grants. They're gonna constantly, the world is a changing place. It's gonna constantly change.
Exactly.
So, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Any other discussion around the motion? Okay, we'll go around again voting in the same order. Larry, do you vote?
Yes.
Rob Mann?
Rob, man, yes.
yes,
Dave?
yes,
Dave's yes. Steve Herbert?
Yes.
Aaron McGarry?
Yes.
And Rob Worich, I vote yes, it passes 6-0. Third action to be taken is a motion on going to a special town meeting January 18, 2023, and referendum January 31st, 2023. For resolution number 3, which would be to appropriate $1.5 million for the cost related to repair of the track at the school. as outlined in the legal notice before us. Anyone want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Steve makes the motion. Is there anyone that wants to second the motion?
I'll second that.
Larry seconds the motion. We have a motion on resolution number 3. And a second. Any discussion on the track? Aaron, I'll hand it back to you because you were on the track earlier. Do you have any comments or discussion on the track?
No comments on the track, different from what I shared on the previous motion when I was mistaken thinking that we were about to vote on the track. Everybody knows my thoughts now, so thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Any comments or discussion on the track?
I'll comment, when I was in school, the track was up and functional. We all know that throughout time, you know, the budgets and don't hold these kind of things up to standards. They fall apart with time, as the school falls apart with time. We're learning that with boilers and HVAC systems, as well as I can go off, you know, the library, this building, roofs, you know, it goes on and on. It just never ends. We all really know that. I just can't see this kind of money getting spent with everything going on and everything else that's needed. I sit down here every year and I try to prioritize everything in the budget. And outside the budget too, because we spend money as the year goes on things that happen and things that are needed, you know, outside of the budget. You know, every year things get spent, you know, I mean, boilers and, you know, it doesn't always make the budget. Sometimes it's outside the budget that we do repairs or, you know, salt gets, you know, up and down and oil prices and everything else. So I just can't see this being, you know, reasonable.
Okay.
And it isn't that I wouldn't love to see a new track there, and that's certainly not the case. Because I was I graduated in 1991. We were one of the first classes to have the new high school and the new track. So it isn't that, you know, we went out there, we were in the middle of that track for our gym every day, basically, you know, so. I think it's a shame, you know, but I just can't see it being reasonable.
Thank you, Rob.
I think we all have personal feelings about whether this is a worthwhile endeavor or not. And I have suspicions that this wouldn't pass, but I think it ought to be up to the town folks to make that decision. So I'm going to vote yes, not because I'm voting yes on the track, but because I'm voting yes on giving the townspeople the opportunity to consider it.
Can I
Anyone? Yes, Amy.
Mr. Vice Chair?
Yeah. Yes, Amy. Same direction.
I just want to say, putting the track into this potential vote was really my doing. It was in fact, I surprised the building committee with presenting that I possibly wanted to bring it to the townspeople. Number one, my kids went through 4 years of high school and never got to use the track. Just like any sports facility, sports complex, it brings a sense of pride to the community. It's a place where young and old can exercise and enjoy the outdoors. It's good for mental health. A lot of people know I'm a CrossFit athlete. My son is a soon to be competitive CrossFit athlete on the national level. But more than that, I think that our kids deserve to have a sense of pride for not only the building, but the facilities. And that's why I requested that we consider bringing it to the people.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Anyone else on Board of Finance comments or discussion?
Just for the record, Amy makes excellent points. That doesn't change the way I'm going to vote on this, but she makes excellent points.
Yep. Thank you. Go ahead, Dave.
I agree with some of the comments that you've heard. I'm concerned about the dollars being spent, as you are, Rob. But I think it has to go to the community. Let them make the decision. They're paying the bill. It's essential. It has been for 20 years. The asphalt beneath the track has it's just breaking apart. And there's nothing that can be done except tearing it all out and putting in a new track. That's unfortunate. It was repaired at one point, but because of the underlayment, the repairs didn't last very long. So it's not worth repairing. So if we're going to have a track, then let the people of the town of Thompson decide.
Thank you, Dave. My viewpoint on it is that we are all six of here voted by all the town people to come in here and make decisions all the time, because we can't have a referendum at a town meeting and have the whole town vote on everything all the time. So if this is going out to the people, my viewpoint on it here today shouldn't weigh in on whether I personally support it or not, or if I supported it as a Board of Finance member making a 1-6 decision. Kind of with the group on letting the townspeople decide, because ultimately they're going to pay the bill if they agree, or pay the bill if they don't, or allow us to have funds to redirect elsewhere when it comes time to managing the mill rate. So that's my view on it. Any other discussion or comments?
Just for the record, but this one doesn't have any reimbursement.
That's true, Rob. Thank you.
And it's $1.9 million we'll be paying by the time that this is done.
Any other discussion or comments?
So I guess just to add a couple of more comments to my previous ones. We're talking about 13, we've already approved 13.7 million with the HVAC and the security system. And if we hadn't already voted to forward 13.7 million, and I understand that there are potential grant dollars available for that 13.7. But even if we realize all of the grant dollars available, we're still going to be looking at millions of dollars. If the HVAC and the school security together hadn't come to 13.7 with still millions of dollars that the town would be paying for, even despite picking up any potential grants out there, I might be more inclined to support a track. But I just feel like, I think Dave said a few moments ago or a few minutes ago, or maybe it was Rob Word, someone said, we've got just so much that we can spend. There's just so much money to go around. And now we're looking at a situation where the experts are talking about a recession coming next year. People's budgets have already been stretched. I just had the oil company stop by and put oil in my tank, and it cost $700. Now that doesn't break my bank. I can handle that, but I just wonder how many people in our town who are taxpayers can't fill their oil tank because they can't swing $700. So long story short, we've already voted to forward a lot of money for things that are reasonable and necessary to run the school. I realize that a track is a nice thing to have, but if we didn't have a track tomorrow, the lights would still turn on, the kids would come in, they'd get off the bus, they'd go in, and they would go into their classrooms. So that's why this last item, I just can't go along with it in light of everything else that we've just done at this meeting.
Rob, Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes.
I just want to
First
point out.
woman.
Melinda Smith wanted everybody to know that the condition of the track was noted in the last NEAS. That's the accreditation, correct, Melinda? Did I say that right? Report 10 years ago, just to let everybody know, the track was noted. And I just want to say one thing. I have to drive by the Marianapolis track at least 2 times a day. And that's hard.
With the trees down now.
So I just want to point that out. It's bad. It's sad that our kids don't have a track. I know it's public school, but they deserve a track.
I agree with that. Can't
And I
track.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I wish that we could fix up that track. I've actually thought that's a great idea for years, but I guess maybe because it came within the same meeting as 13.7 million for other things. My instincts are telling me just to,
Aaron, but it opens us up to potentially find a grant, because we'll already have the approval. Is all I'm saying. We've been searching, it's shovel ready at this point. If
I
we
guess
get,
I've heard-
if it's approved by the town now, we'll be able to move forward and apply, and we'll actually have leverage because we'll have funds available to do matching grants, which we don't have currently. So that's all I have to say. I won't say anything else. I'll be quiet. Thank you.
All good points.
Thank you,
I
Amy.
just, my instincts are telling me that there's just so many dollars to go around. And this particular project, there's no, it says on the agenda, no known grants at this time. And there's just so many dollars to go around.
Yes, Ron.
I agree with Aaron. There's only so many dollars to go around. I understand about the NEASP accreditation, that, you know, it's on the list. I get it. And I know Dave says we should let the residents vote on it, but you know, that's why we're on this board. Sometimes we're a wall between that. And it's not that I don't want the school to have a track. It's just that I don't feel it's fiscally responsible right now. We have budget season coming up, and we're already talking about spending a significant amount, more money than it's in the last 5 years we've spent, as long as I've been on this board. So that's all. Thank you.
I might add something. I think I've heard every year I've been on the board, and even before that, that this year we can't do the track. It's just too much this year. So every year we say we can't do it. And I think I'm hearing that again. It's going to be never is what I'm really hearing. Let's let the people decide.
I'm not disagreeing with you, Steve. We did the same thing with the library roof. Every year we were gonna put $50,000 away. We never got to the point where we'd even consider spending the kind of money the library roof needed. But, you know, luckily we got a grant and that paid for it. Otherwise it wouldn't even got done.
Because
We'd
there
still
is-
be there.
I'm sorry, I keep saying things. Can I speak?
But you can
Because
speak
there
ahead.
is the school of thought that you shouldn't be socking away money. I've heard that at multiple, you shouldn't be socking away money because that's people that live here now, they're paying for something that's gonna happen in the future. So there's always that school of thought too. There's always something that stops progress and improvement in this town, and that has to end. So I'm done, I promise. I might leave.
Amy, you don't have to promise. Don't feel like it. I love that people speak their minds at these meetings. I don't.
I know, but I'm-
It's difficult sometimes, you know, it's never easy.
It's a point of view. It's a point of view. It's important.
Don't think other people get upset for having a different view. I don't.
It's the
I
ex
don't-
officio member, and I don't wanna keep, speaking on it.
No.
It's okay. When you overspeak too much.
Okay,
I'll
let's
let
go.
you- I haven't let you know yet.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Any other discussion or comments? from the Board of Finance members? Okay. So take it to a vote. Larry,
Yes.
Rob, Ann,
No.
Dave,
Yes,
Steve, Herbert,
Yes,
Aaron,
No,
and Rob Roach votes yes. That passes 4-2. That takes care of item number 3. Item number 4, Board of Finance member comments. Any Board of Finance member comments before we adjourn?
I guess I have one. I just want to appreciate everybody, you know, it's good that we always have, I love this new table, by the way. I can't thank everybody, whoever got it enough. I sit here at meeting, I could say it every single meeting. I used to sit here and I literally left here feeling like an 80-year-old man because my sciatic was killing me. It's so nice to sit here in a chair. I could sit here for 4 hours. One thing, and I appreciate the go around and the back together. I like that. You know, it's more healthy than people not speaking their mind and knowing how they feel. So that's all. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Steve
Steve
Herbert.
Herbert, please. You have
I
the
don't know if
floor.
I mentioned this before, but did I mention that Army had a score of 20 and Navy 17?
Good one.
You did. Thank you, Steve. Any other Board of Finance member comments?
But if you went to Navy or Annapolis, you'd been able to speed read.
Quiet him down. Mute, he should be muted. He should be muted.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
That motion to adjourn, Rob, man.
Rob Mann, motion to adjourn, second.
Second.
Dave Johnson, second. All in favor?
I.
Aye.
I know the meeting's adjourned. Melinda wanted to thank everyone. I appreciate your willingness to discuss the 3 areas of need at our school.
Thank you, everyone.
Just tell her to remember.
I know, but.